Hello, this is the Reverend Dr. David Chotka of Spirit Equipped Ministries. Sometimes you just have to decide. Decide, underlined, exclamation point. Years ago, I belonged to a startup gospel music group. There were lots of musicians then. We had a bass player, we had an acoustic guitar player, we had a keyboardist who could play the piano, we had percussion. There were 3 vocalists and even a sound tech. It was a lot of fun singing some of those old standard songs, but even more fun to try and create music together. Even if the temps did nothing else than show us that we could, it was a good thing for us to grow together and learn together and try to compose together. Well, we started getting some gigs at churches, at social events for evening worship services. An outreach center invited us, and toward the end we were even invited to do a wedding reception. And then this event happened. One of the band members wasn't sure about whether to continue or not because playing in the band took a considerable amount of time. There was composing time, practice time, setup time, tear down time, time in the gig, etc. And about a year in, all of us in the band had to face that. But the uncertainty became clear right in the middle of setting up for a 25-minute sound thing that we were going to do at an evening service in a church. We were putting our gear onto the platform, and the piano player absolutely stopped cold, just froze. Wouldn't move. The timing was absolutely inconvenient. We were setting up to play that night, and the piano player just froze, wouldn't even carry a patch cable for the sound guy. So we wound up having a conversation on a platform in a church about whether or not we were going to be able to do that service without the piano player. Finally, the bass player had enough. We needed to keep our word and play that night. Even if it was the last time we ever played together, we needed to be people of our word. So the bass player had a bit of a stroke of genius. He was a drama and English major at university. He picked up a music stand, handed it to the keyboard player, and said this: "Be a man. Take a stand." Well, those words hung in the air for about 5 seconds, and then we all burst out laughing at the ridiculous situation, joined together with the guy's clever wordplay. And then, I'm sure it had dawned on him at the moment, I don't think he planned this. Of course, none of us planned this at all, but he had a stroke of poetic genius explode in his brain. He picked up a second music stand, held it out to the piano player, and said this: "Be a hypocrite. Take 2 stands." Well, all of us looked at the bass guy. He made a dramatic flourish with his hands, then he mock curtsied before the pianist, raised his eyebrow, and made the Vulcan salute to live long and prosper. And the posturing was so ridiculous that all of us just exploded into a belly laugh, and the negative power of the moment was completely diffused. I picked up the 2 stands and I pretended to be double-minded, going backwards and forwards. The piano player grabbed the electric keyboard and then eventually the keyboard mount. The sound guy grabbed the cables. All of us got to work. We got set up. We played for that church that night, and then we had a one-to-one conversation after this. The keyboardist eventually decided that the time commitment was just too heavy, though played with us again from time to time whenever we asked. Most of us realized after that event that we didn't want to make that a career, so the group folded not too far on down the line. But I often remember that crazy moment, not only because the bass guy was clever, but because it underlines a very profound truth. Sometimes we just have to decide. Decide. James, the half-brother of our Lord Jesus, says it extremely well. When it comes even to something as basic as asking God for what's obviously within the will, wisdom. And who would doubt that God would want to give anybody wisdom? Here's the way James said it: "If anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives generously to all without reproach. Let him ask in faith, without any doubting. For the one who doubts is like the surf of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind. For that person must not suppose he'll receive anything from the Lord, being a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways." That's from the New American Standard Translation, but the Message captures it even far more profoundly. It underlines the effect of not deciding extremely well. This is the Message translation of verse 8. Verse 8. "Don't think you're going to get anything from the Master that way. Adrift at sea, keeping all your options open." The bottom line is, in the kingdom, there's two options: yes or no. Decide for Jesus or decide against him, but make your mind up. Be a man, take a stand. Don't be a hypocrite and take two stands, but take a stand and decide. Embrace the gospel, and then don't do the double-minded thing. Put both your feet in and start to walk with him. This is the Reverend Dr. David Chotka of Spirit Equipped Ministries. If you'd like to receive bi-weekly blogs, you can go to the web page, go to the opt-in section, put your information there, and these blogs will be sent to you. Or you can subscribe to the YouTube channel to see all the various short videos that I've done. May the Lord bless you.